First guitar that you got?
Me?
Yep.
It was a German guitar. It was called Hopf, Hopf. I was in Heidelberg, Germany.
Really?
1962. And
Was your dad in the service or something when
yeah.
you were there? Ah.
And my older sister had a boyfriend. It was in a band called the Furies. And
Really?
I thought they were all pretty cool, but I had already been listening to. I went to the PX and bought this Chuck Berry record, and it just blew my socks off. I just couldn't believe this sound.
Yeah.
And they would. All we had was Armed Forces Radio.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And they would play all kinds of stuff. They would play. There was like a country hour, and they would. First time I ever heard Willie Nelson was there, and Johnny Cash and all that kind of stuff. And then they would do, real lame music and stuff like that. And they wouldn't play rock and roll.
Roger Whittaker.
I don't remember that name, but anyway. But the rock and roll, they didn't play much rock and roll at all because they were real stuffy. It was Cold War, the height of the Cold
Well, it was
War.
for the military people.
Yeah,
you couldn't be doing that.
Yeah, we were over there when the
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Cuban Missile Crisis, and we were ground zero,
Wow, no kidding.
And but anyway, I wanted to hear rock and roll. My brother and my sister wanted to hear rock and roll. All my friends wanted to hear rock and roll. But there was a station called Radio Luxembourg that was like the European version of XERF, which was like this huge 1,000,000-watt. And I'd listen to my little transistor radio and listen to that and listen to everything from, I don't know, Telstar to Ruby and the Romantics and, Vince, what was it? Gene Vincent. And
Red Caps.
The Red Caps, all those guys, all that rock and roll stuff. Yeah. And, tried to get as much of it as I could. What I say, I learned, one of the first things I learned on the guitar was What I Say. And I remember the first time I heard that, it was like, are you allowed to sing like that? I was like, can you do that? Because it was this style of singing that I was very unfamiliar with at the time. But it did something to me. It was like, oh,
it was wild.
Something's happening here.
It was different. It was wild. It was totally wild.
It was, it touched me. It really touched me.
Well,
even though it was, the lyrics didn't mean much or anything like that, but there was something about it.
Oh man. Yeah. They weren't as philosophical as say Barefoot.
There was a spirit in the music, and that's what got me, And so this my sister's boyfriend taught me the pentatonic scale in E.
So for
this thing,
teach it to me. That was
yeah. And he said any of those notes will work. Mm-hmm. Any of those notes will work. And so he would play along, and I just played any of those notes. And I started hearing this stuff in my head, And so
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. That pentatonic lick, man, I played that for years. That was all I could play was that, out of that, and then Louie came out. Well, it was out of that. And so I was stuck in that real big. And an old country guy wanted a guitar player, and he said, "Man, you can come play for me." And it was like, wasn't much money, but I said, "Man, I don't know how to play any country." And he said, "Can you play blues, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well," he says, "you play in E and play lead, and I'll play in G." Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I was a country guitar player.
Yeah.
All I had to do was that transpose. I didn't know that's what you called it, but all I had to do, if he was in C, I had to go, okay, I'm going to play an A minor.
Relative minor.
Yeah.
We used to call it ad-libbing. I don't know what you guys used to call it. We used to call it ad-libbing.
It was all ad-lib.
And then just...
That's what I did here today.
So, you're supposed to play the solo. You didn't think of it as a solo. You said, well, you just want me to ad-lib over the chords? Okay. So you're just kind of looking around for the notes that are going to work in that
Yeah.
scale,
Yep,
you know?
yep.
I guess that's how all of us learned, basically. Just learn that little bit.
Feel around for
And
something.
noodle around and find the cool notes, you know, find what.
Stumble onto a lot of them.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. It's-
the mistakes.
You find
the
them good,
mistakes.
hang on to
I'm
it.
still stumbling along.
Work for John Lee. Did.
Me too.
Bert, your first guitar?
Sears Silvertone arch top.
Oh my God. Nice.
And I was the squarest guy, man. You know, other guys had solid body guitars and stuff, and I had a Silvertone arch top, and it wasn't getting it, you know. And my folks, we were pretty poor, and then I ordered it from the catalog, you know, and then I ordered their Day Armin pickup with a bar. And,
I remember those.
And it clamped back behind your
I remember
strings,
those.
and it had a little metal thing with a volume knob.
I
on it.
remember those.
It had an 1/8" pin, and prior to that, I had, for just a little while, I think it annoyed my parents so bad, I took the thing out of the phone, and I put it, put it in my guitar and just hooked, you know, cut the
Made a
end off a
microphone.
guitar cord and put the phone receiver, the little round thing that used to be in the old phones, and oh, it was funky, man. It was funky sounding. The Day Armin was pretty funky sounding too.
I
Do you
remember-
still have that? That art stop?
God, no, I wish I did.
That'd be neat.
I remember getting the Sears catalog, and I'd go back and forth between the women's underwear ads
Yes.
and the guitars.
Those turquoise body,
Yeah.
remember those?
You know, I couldn't wait for the Sears catalog.
Whoa!
I was looking at these Silvertone guitars and then kind of peek over at the underwear.
Your mom was wondering why there wasn't no underwear in this Sears catalog. There's no underwear pages.
They used to sell them.
Yeah, I was down with them bras and panties myself, man.
That was the dirty books of my age.
It was. Unless you had an uncle that was a sailor or something.
Now that's country. That is country.
Paul, did you start drums first, or what you?
You know, I started playing the drums first, but I did buy a guitar when I was 12 years old out of the Sears catalog. And it was a Sears Silvertone arch top.
No.
F-hole.
Yeah.
You could check whether you wanted a brown one
Yep.
or a black one.
I had the brown.
I got the black one.
That figures.
And
You're
I
an
still-
outlaw.
I still have it.
Wild man, you still.
I still have it. The next
that's
kind of like
great.
that, but I still have it.
Wow.
Oh, they're great for slide, man. Those things are awesome for slide. Yeah, no bar in the neck.
No,
But it
no
says-
bar in the neck.
But it says steel reinforced.
Yeah, right. It says it.
I think Harmony made those. Somebody told me
Maybe so.
Harmony
Yeah.
made those.
Yeah.
Harmony and Kay, they were all.
Harmony, okay, yeah.
They made a Barney Kessel, I think.
Yeah, they
Harmony,
did.
Yeah,
I had one, a K.
a Kay Barney Kessel.
Yep,
You
yep.
still got that?
No, wish I did. I had a KO Craftsman and a Barney Kessel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were great, man. I used that Barney Kessel a lot with Huey because he liked that. It had a really crappy sound. Had those big gray pickups that had diamonds like a bumper of a
Oh yeah, yeah,
cut in them.
yeah.
And and the old Craftsman had 3 pickups. 3 of those big suckers. There was barely enough room for them in there, you know.
Yeah.
Great guitar. Great guitar. It sounded awful.
Glenn, your first guitar, or did you start with?
Supro. Fiberglass body Supro.
I got one now. I play it all the time.
And it's got that little button thing that goes.
Oh no, mine's a resin.
Oh, like a tremolo?
Yeah.
I'll be
A
damned.
little white rubber tip thing.
I'll be damned.
Really?
Wow.
And I would detune it, start to play bass. Yeah. Because nobody wanted to do it. So I volunteered in 1963 to do it for a year.
And
Here you are.
2015.
And then I got a candy apple red jazz bass matching headstock.
Oh, yeah.
1963.
Oh,
Wow.
Big time, man, back then.
Painted it blue, drilled holes in it.
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Do you still have that?
No, I don't.
Was it Fiesta Red or Candy? It was
Candy
It was
Apple.
Candy Apple.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Alan?
Yeah.
I just had like a Stella acoustic, cheap, probably was $50 at that. You know, that I don't know what. I wish I did have it, but you know, just Bob Dylan chords and Lightning Hopkins sounds, you know.
Well, I guess we had an old. There was like this Mexican acoustic guitar that was real cheap nylon string guitar, but I couldn't play it and I didn't play it. But the first guitar I got was in 1970. I bought a Strat in a pawn shop on Elm Street in Dallas, and I still have it. And I think it's like a '63 Strat or something.
Wow.
And $50, $50. It was the neck was very messed up, you know, and I don't really understand what was wrong with it or whether it could have been refretted maybe or something. But I took it to a guy and he said, "This is also the first." This guy wasn't trying to burn me, but this is kind of the story.
Smarter
the first time
guy.
he getting burned. Yeah. Well, he wasn't. He was just. I think it was just. He was an old guy that worked on guitars, and he said, "Well, I got this neck hanging over here. We can just trade out." And it was a Telecaster neck he had hanging up there. He said, "It'll fit."
Yeah.
And so there went the original neck to that '63 Strat, but it had and still has the name Ray Lewis carved in the fingerboard. And it had two plastic coat of arms glued to it, you know, like off a whiskey gift whiskey bottle package or something.
Yeah.
And it was a great, nice guitar. I eventually got a Fender, a Stratocaster neck for it, but
What year model was the Telly neck?
I do not know.
Wasn't stamped.
But later on, after I had some other guitars, I realized I didn't like that Telly neck. It was one of those real weird ones that's almost skinnier down here than it is that.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
hate those.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a.
That's goofy feeling as hell, isn't it?